My name is Floco Torres, and you are watching the Jam interview.
So, what's your story?
That's actually a really good first question. My story, my story is evolution. It's basically what it is. Continuing to try to be better, reach farther, grow taller, get stronger. It's that process of seeing how far you can take this idea or this being or this existence, and then it's over, and then wherever I float to will be the next thing.
What um, what kind of gets you? What kind of steps that you can take that get you towards that evolution?
I think it's all about whatever part of the process that I'm focused on. Like if you go to the gym and you want to lose 15 pounds, you're gonna watch videos, you're gonna listen to people that lose weight, and try to do those things. And then it gets a little bit more interesting and sometimes difficult when it's unconventional things. Like I want to be, the greatest artist of all time, or I want to empower like a certain part of the community that's being overlooked, or whatever that is. Then you try and solve that problem, like by finding the steps of, well, what do I need to do to make these people more heard, or tell these stories, or what do I need to do to get 100 people in a room that will sing all the words to these songs, and then you just continue to try to figure that out.
What kind of things does Floco Torres care about?
Everything and nothing at the same time.
Okay.
That's actually the process I'm sort of working through now, of embracing cynicism and certain aspects of humans are sort of, we're in a phase where we're putting a lot of pressure on our existence, but then also not being realistic about what we can do sometimes and what we can't do. It's like when you look at your calendar, like you say, I'm going to do all these things this week, and by Wednesday you realize that you've overbooked yourself. Humans have sort of overbooked themselves in a lot of, we've overbooked ourselves in a lot of different emotional ways. So embracing the fact that I can't emotionally and physically care about every single thing, every little smidgen of a thing, like whether it be the snare on this song or something that I didn't know that was happening like across the world. You know what I mean? Things change by laser focus sometimes. So that's my process right now, is being laser focused on what I can actually do, and what I can work on and what I can change, and then working outward.
What kind of things shifts your focus?
Um, depends on what I'm focused on, what I'm allowing into the bubble. So if I'm
What penetrates that bubble?
uh, energy, energy definitely penetrates the bubble, and it could be good, it could be bad. I could just be really frustrated that you see someone talented and they're sort of letting their opportunity slip away, and you have an opportunity to have a conversation with them and nothing's getting through. You know what I mean? Or it could be great, it could be just wanting to have this conversation. You know what I mean? So yeah, just energy, and getting better at picking what energy penetrates the bubble is going to be a never-ending process.
What energizes you other than music?
I I think it's the competition of the unknown. Like when you're competitive, you can make anything competitive. You can make like living
Right.
competitive. Like that's, you eventually start working out and eating healthier because like you're trying to survive the apocalypse, or you don't want to be called a derogatory term as far as your weight or how you look or something. Like it's based in being competitive. So competitiveness drives me most of the time. Of let me figure this out, or I know I can do this, or I know I can help. Um, so yeah.
Okay. What are you the most competitive about, and what do you know that you can win at?
I gen- to my detriment sometimes, I genuinely think I can win everything.
Okay.
I think that I can be the president of the United States. Well, obviously now I think we all think that we can. Um, I think that I could be the president of the United States, and I think I can be better than every artist that I've ever looked up to. It's I know it's personally about how dedicated I'm going to be,
Yeah.
and that's the gift and the curse of that is when you don't hit certain marks outside of business things, because sometimes that's about metrics and relationships and things. But when you don't hit certain marks creatively or artistically or personally, you know at the end of the day it has something to do with I could have pushed myself here a little bit. So yeah.
Let's go a little further with that. What kind of challenges do you see yourself facing right now, and how are you going about overcoming those challenges?
Doubt, just self doubt, analyzing through other people, other situations. I think we all do it, especially in our current state where you get to see what everything is all the time. That fighting those thoughts of not being good enough or any of those things, that's like a superpower in itself. To continue to tell yourself good things, be good to yourself, put good things in your body, and not just food. You know what you're listening to, what you choose to entertain. There'll be full-on scandals going on in the country, and I won't see it, and people will be surprised. It's like, how did you not see that? It's like we live in a filtered society. If I don't want to hear or listen to something, or if I don't want to see anything, I don't have to see it. You know what I mean? People make you feel like you have to do everything because everyone's doing it. Certain shit, I don't catch it, like, because I'm not looking over there.
Right. Yeah, I feel like when you look at things externally, most people internalize a lot of those things,
Hmm.
and it forces them to make certain actions that may be irrational or uninformative, and yeah, it affects the way that they go about accomplishing what they want to accomplish.
Absolutely, and I think we're all guilty of it to a certain degree, but it's being self-reflective and being able to catch it. You're not gonna catch it all the time, and I mean, the people that do are like Alan Watts and Krishnamurti and stuff like that, I guess. But you're not gonna catch it all the time. But being aware that it's happening, I feel like we can possibly be better people by knowing we're not gonna be perfect. But I caught that negative thought, so I know next time to rebound it, I'm gonna say this positive thing right after that negative thought, or just redirect it. Like, sometimes I'll just like shake my head, like, no, 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 don't think that, or you know.
That's awesome. That's a good tip for, I guess, self-awareness and being active.
Hmm.
How you control your own thought. Like, how did you like go about learning that?
Reading, again, that competition of wanting to be better, and being around people that had the sort of energy that I wanted to exude, you know what I mean? So just reading and being around those folks, and then watching people that inspired me in situations, you start to look at yourself in certain things. It's like, you know what, that probably didn't work because of the way I was looking at it, or I didn't walk around that table and say, you know why this table is leaning? It's because, you know, this peg on this side, but also it was built this way. And you know what I mean? Like, I just looked at it as like, well, clearly it's got to be this. So I put a napkin on this side and it still wobbles. And then I got upset and I didn't sit at the table anymore. You know what I mean? Just situation after situation of trying to be better as an artist, as a person, just as a human being. And knowing that that doesn't come from other people, that comes from the work you have to do with yourself. So I just keep trying to be better, you know.
Um, so what motivated you to do
Mm, the competition was definitely in there somewhere, but then just looking back on it, I think being more of a person that stays to himself. When I was going to school for journalism and that was my focus, my friends rapped, so writing stuff and like rapping with them behind the scenes and giving raps to friends and all of that, when they were like, nah, you should spit that thing you did the other day. It was one of the first things where I was a part of something. Like, everybody was having ciphers and doing these things, and I was just that person that was in the group watching. And it was one of the first times my mom used to always tell, like, you'll be a star, like all that stuff parents say. But it was the first time that I was a part of something that I wasn't like in the crowd. Like I was like, no, I'm just as good as, like, I can be just as good as everybody here. I think that's what kept motivating me to do it. And then, people tell you not to do it, or, you got to do this, that, and the third. You got to sound like this. You got to do this. It just became these rolling things of like, nah, I don't got to do that. I don't got to do that. I can be better. I can, I don't have to do that show over there. I don't have to do these like showcases. I can book my own shows. And then it kept, it kept rolling, and there was always something to chase. So I imagine if I ever stop, it'll probably be because there's nothing else to keep going after. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, that's always having a goal to chase or something to reach is pretty crucial to having a purpose, a sense of purpose. So obviously you find that music is your sense of purpose.
I think that it's a part of it. I think that's a very big part of it. I think the story and stories being told is a part of it. Like I went to school for journalism, and that's what I wanted to do. And then I got a job in the field while I was in college, and I didn't really want to be in college anyway. So I was like, all right, cool. Well, I got a job. This is what I was going for. So then I started doing that, and then telling stories translated to writing raps, and then writing raps translated to being a performer and learning about music as a whole, of creating, like, writing isn't just writing lyrics. Writing is making beats. Writing is creating songs. Writing is having conversations. So I think that music has become a big part of whatever I'm supposed to do. But projecting stories, I feel like, is my main thing. So now that I can tell stories through videos and other forms of media, it's taken this little thing that was, when I didn't want to talk to my parents, they would tell me go write how I feel. It took that little thing of expressing myself to other people, to listening to people that don't feel like they can express themselves, or do, but they just don't want to be on stage and do it.
Right.
I hear those stories and I write about it, and I tell it.
It's awesome. I most definitely hear a lot of storytelling in the music that you make. It's very personal. How does sharing, this is kind of like a leading question, but like how does sharing personal stories help other people?
I think obviously there's always a relatability to it. You put that story out there, and there's going to be someone that doesn't feel spoken for, and they may hear that and relate to it. It was like, oh, I feel the same way, or no, I don't understand that at all, but I understand feeling awkward in this sense, and this story is about you feeling awkward in that sense, so then we can have a conversation about it. So I think it brings us close. Music's the universal language. It brings us closer in ways that technology's never going to be able to do. No matter they take like cells out of our body and put it in a phone, it's still not going to make us as close as just having that emotional reaction or feeling to music. So I like to hope that when I create things, people hear something and they can grab onto it, like, oh man, or I've heard about that. That's crazy. You know what I mean?
Right. What kind of advice would you give to another musician, whether it be about the music industry, about their artistry, crafting that? What kind of advice would you give?
I think on the artistry side is just do it and figure it out. There's no getting past that part of the figuring out, making mistakes, making bad songs, making bad ideas. So just doing it. That's always been my thing. And the business side is when the negative energy penetrates the bubble. That's one of the things. There's just so many people in an information age that are uninformed about stupid, very, very minute things that a quick Google search is, So doing that research, like, what type of artist do you want to be? What do you want to accomplish? And then do that research. Look at your favorite artist, but then just Google, how do you make money from your song being in a movie? You know what I mean? And read that article and figure that out. I come across so many artists that are just, and I made those mistakes too. We leave so much money on the table. We leave so many opportunities on the table because we just want to make music. and that's fine. But we also want to make a living from this, and that comes with playing the game a certain way. It's like politics. We, you know,
Yeah.
to do things in politics, bills have to be passed. Like certain people have to be talked to. So all these hashtags is cool, but to change it in paper, we gotta go down there.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's the same thing on the business side. Learn all that and learn how to do it that way.
Right. There's no way around kind of there is a way to disrupt the system,
Hmm.
but in that same vein, you also have to work within it, or either work around it,
Yeah.
create your own thing. What kind of struggles in that sense do you see, or what kind of challenges that you're having within the music industry currently?
I think my thing has always been you, especially now because everything's so wide open, you can make enough noise where people know about you and they've seen you and they've heard you. But the same thing with playing that game, if you're not going to the conferences and the networking events and the doing the showcases and paying this rapper this much to open up for them so you can be seen, there's a level of resistance that the industry will have with you sometimes because you're not playing the game, basically. And so that I wouldn't say that it's a difficulty. I think when people look at me and or look at artists and they say, why aren't you bigger or why aren't you more famous or something, a lot of the times that's the biggest hurdle. It's not about the music, it's not about their business side. They have everything, they may have everything set up, but have you shaken that hand that's going to put you there? And have you shaken that hand after that and then kept going back and built that relationship? So I wouldn't call it a hindrance, but I'd say that's something that I've always battled with, is the relationships that I do keep are important to me and important to my career, but on paper may not be important to how the industry looks at things.
How do you go about building those relationships? What what currently are you working on right now that's trying to get you to that next level?
Mhm.
And what are you doing to make sure that you're reaching out to the right people?
On the creative side, it's continuing to make sure when I walk into a room, so when I walk into a studio, I know everything that's happening. I know it, like I have a vague knowledge of what to do with that board, how to make a beat, how to pick up instruments. You know what I mean? Record all of that. So on the creative side, doing that. On the other side, just becoming disruptive is my focus right now. Is as far as like building these relationships. Like I'm not. There's a big trend right now with brands and all of that bullshit. I'm not in this room to shake hands to be seen. I'm in this room for you to know that I'm here. And I feel like that's a completely different thing. Like you'll go to these events and people will be like, hey man, what do you do? Da 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 da. Cool man, my phone died, but follow me on Instagram and I'll hit you back when I get to the house. Like I've been to 12 networking events this year. That's happened to me 3 times at every single one of those events. Because the follower count is all they're worried about. They're not actually worried about connecting with me after the situation. So being disruptive in a way of, I'm in this room, you're gonna come have this conversation, but you're not gonna get that out of me. So we're gonna have a real conversation, and you have to respect that I even came to this shit in the first place. Not that I'm just another person in here because everybody can do something for me. Like I bring value to this room, so be happy that I'm here. You know what I mean? Like that's sort of my attitude right now in a lot of senses. So making sure the art is undeniable and having my shit together. So if someone wants to do business or someone wants to work, ain't no holdups. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that's definitely a good attitude. I just saw Spark of Passion. You said you were talking about branding.
Man,
Well, let's go into a little bit about that.
oh, it's because it's not bull. The idea it's a legitimate thing, but societal like trends. They kill me because we have the internet now, so you can just watch people like the herd just walk in this direction. It's like, oh, now we're all, first we were party promoters, and then we were DJs, and then we were bartenders, and then we were like socialites, and now we're all about branding and consulting and it's a bunch of crap because you go to these events and you listen to these people and it's like you don't we all have a brand, I guess, in a sense, but it's like you have 1,000 followers, like you're not a brand. No one is looking for you. You know what I mean? Like no one cares that you threw a party. No one cares that I put a song out. You know what I mean? Like it's building this thing that you're doing to where people actually need it. They want it. They have use for it. That's what we're trying to build. We're not just trying to build that we have a word that says brand. There are people on Instagram in their bio it says that they're a brand. That's all it says. And it's because events that they go to are misinforming them that all you have to do is exist and you're a brand. It's like shut up. Like no, you're not. You know what I mean? So I just like yeah, don't I just hate that misinformation that's out there about like building your business and building like there's much more to it than making an Instagram account and taking some pictures. You know what I mean? Like let's really get out here and make businesses and make agencies that are going to change and shift the culture or the business scape of what you're doing. If you're not trying to do that, go get a job and stay home. You know what I mean? Like that's we don't need any more half-baked ideas. We don't need any more socialites. We don't need any more influencers. We don't need any more brands. We don't need any more consultants. You know what I mean? Like we don't need any more of that. We need people that are actually going to hit the ground running and change some shit. And if you're not gonna do that, stay home. Like,
Yeah, I most definitely agree. I think people most definitely go out and look after people that have opinions like you do, and hear a different, not a different perspective, a radical perspective.
mhm.
I think that's why people love and hate Kanye West so much. Um, like, what I know that speaking your mind is something that um, is critical to that, doing that. But what else can kind of make sure that you're getting the proper platform to be able to share that?
I think. Well, first let me say I could care less what Kanye West thinks.
Okay,
Um,
all right, and
I'm
that's a fair point.
I'm a huge fan of Kanye West, and I've been having this thing over the past couple days, talking with people behind the scenes. Yeah, it's like I don't care. Like, and maybe I'm learning that I'm not as big of a Kanye fan as I thought, or maybe I have a different relationship, fan to artist or whatever. Like, I don't care what he thinks about politics because he doesn't pass any fucking laws.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
he doesn't sign any paperwork. It's disappointing to hear a black artist say some of the things that he's saying or trying to explain whatever he's trying to say. Um, but yeah, it's like I don't care what he thinks. And then with that, we have a misconception that free speech comes without consequence, and that's not true. I have the right to say whatever I want. You have the right to say whatever you want, and people have a right to feel a way about it. They do. Attacking people and all that is a completely different thing, but just because you share your thoughts, everybody doesn't have to agree with you. That's not what free speech is about. Free speech is about me being able to say it. What happens after that is on you. So just being mindful of how you use your opportunity to speak, I think is my main thing. As far as getting a platform, fortunately or unfortunately, we all have the platform. So you can just run your mouth, and that's what we do. And then when people don't agree with it, then we have this revelation that all is wrong with the world. It's like, nah, you told me how you felt, and now, or you told the world how you felt, and now they're telling you how they feel. For my patience, most of the time it just goes on too long. Like the Kanye thing is just going on for way too long, and then there's like those societal trends. It's like everybody loved this person, and now they hate him because he didn't say something that they agreed with. And then there's that 4-day period after something happens where everyone's lobbying on Twitter for like the best joke, and it just goes on and on and on and on over and over and over. It's not my favorite thing, but it boils down to like he spoke his mind, and now the world is responding to it, for better or for worse. That's just all the other deeper stuff. I don't really get into because again, he like Kanye don't pass no laws, so I want us to put that energy now into the people that actually signing papers because they've been saying what we don't agree with for a long time. You know what I mean?
Yes, I most definitely agree with you. Our energy is most definitely misplaced. Anger is misplaced, and we're not focusing on, like you said, people that are actually passing the laws, making these regulations.
Hmm.
Actually, that has the financial capital to make huge changes, or for better or for worse. It's most definitely I agree with you.
Kanye run for president, I'll care.
Yeah,
I will absolutely care, and I'll be into his campaign the way in any politician I'm looking into that's running for a particular office. I do my research or whatever it is. But right now, musician, artist, fashion designer, I could care less.
right.
Like, and I personally don't understand the outrage. I understand the hurt.
Yeah,
I understand the emotion of it.
yeah,
The outrage, nah, bro.
yeah.
Like until he gets the little pin with the feather on it that like signs like I don't care, man. I don't,
That's fair. All right. Well, I thank you for having this conversation. Very insightful.
oh, thank you, man.
You want to give your shout outs?
Shout out to Jam Company, and just anybody that's just trying to create something. It's hard. It's like super hard. Yeah, anybody that's trying to create something, and then anyone that isn't. It's okay to do both. It's okay to create, and then it's also okay to be like, no, I'm just gonna be the person that uses these things. It's just it's just what it is. Um, yeah, that's it. That's all I got.
Where can people follow you?
You can follow me on all the social media, FLOCOTORRES, FlocoTorres.com. I'm on iTunes, Spotify, all the people are always surprised at that. They're like, "You on Apple Music?" It's like, yeah, I take this seriously. And my new album will be out in August. I'm releasing a new single every month, which you can find on my website and all my socials. So, yeah, but mainly just hit me up and have a conversation. You know, so yeah. It's Floco Torres. Thank y'all for hanging out with me and keep jamming.